Hey yo! What's goody, everybody? Today's topic: stop comparing. Everything you do is centered around you. So if you're gazing at another, you'll lose sight of what's true. So today's focus is how to ignore the crowd and getting back to being you. So now that we're live, let's dive. Point number 1, you. Comparing originates from our unawareness of what to do, because when we're unaware, we'll normally do what we see in our view. Talking, eating, loving, or our ethics. As we grow, our environment's our perspective. Whether it's how we perform, how we look, or where we are in our life, all we have to do is look around or use our phone as our guides. Because in order to compare, you have to seek what others do. But if we're constantly comparing, we'll lose sight of what's true. Instead of focusing on our own inherent actions, we're now gauging ourselves against them, taking away satisfaction. We're no longer satisfied with just our progress, because instead of seeing our improvements, we're comparing it to their success. By staring at another, we're defeating the purpose, because instead of seeking awareness, we made ourselves worthless. Now we fall into a trap with two destinations: who and the outcome. And regardless of whichever you're in, it's impossible to put yourself number one. So with the inability to see above ground and no footholds to climb out, we're going over what these traps are and how to avoid them along our route. Point number 2, traps. Who are we comparing to, and are we satisfied with the outcome? As stated earlier, it's impossible to put yourself number one. When the trap is who, this can go two different directions. It's either someone we're belittling or someone we're obsessing. When you only compare yourself to people you're above, that means you're content with hindering what you can become. A teammate, a coworker, an opponent, or a classmate, they'll handpick their comparisons so they'll always appear great. A level of arrogance is formed because they create a facade of being better than everybody else. But deep down, when compared to actual competition, they would actually be perched on a shelf. Now on the flip side, when you only compare to people you're below, instead of using them as a guide, you've completely diminished your ego. Whether it's a celebrity, an idol, or someone with popularity, thinking you can't match them, you've lost sight of all your clarity. It's not supposed to be about them. It's supposed to be about you. But instead of seeing self-growth, you'll devalue what you do. Now, although separate, the trap of who can lead to the trap of outcome. Because when we've lost sight of the true result, we'll diminish what we can become. When comparing below, you'll only surpass what's easy in your eyes. So instead of reaching your true potential, your ego has led to your own demise. Work, school, our lives, and our health. This can apply to any situation, including our wealth. I make more, I score more, or I'm in better shape. So focus on I, all they've done is shorten the tape. Now, on the flip side, when comparing above, instead of focusing on growth, they're saddened on not having the same outcome. This person has a mansion, they're always traveling, or they have a six-pack. Always seeing what others have, you'll forget how to keep track. If you adjusted your sight, you could see just how much you've progressed from the start, but instead, you'll insist on putting yourself further in the dark. And it's so easy to get absorbed on our phones, but when it's all said and done, that's just a device. Our well-being is our home. So now that we've unraveled the mystery of both traps, in point number 3, we go over how to avoid them and never look back. Point number 3, truth. The truth is being aware of you. It's never been about them, it's about what's true. In a world where we're constantly seeing what another does, we need to separate ourselves from this false reality and get back to who he was. It starts with you. That's who you should pursue. Regardless of what's on our screens, you should always be the primary view. Social media, the internet, leaderboards, or our friends. If we're too enamored by the outsiders, we'll lose sight of where we began. The truth is our personal outcome and our own personal growth. So if we're constantly comparing to another, it's impossible to look at both. Don't beat yourself up, never put yourself down, and see how far you've come. Because our journey is our life. Just focus on what you can become. So when overcoming the trap of who, it's all about perception. Because people can be a great benchmark, but how you perceive them can create the deception. Don't get me wrong, we need targets and role models in order to strive. Because if we have no goal, then we wouldn't have a drive. A pro, an award winner, a CEO, or an enthusiast, We must always pick someone above, so we're continuously improving this. So don't settle on who you view, and don't obsess over who is currently above, because the truth is to focus on your personal success, not to diminish your self-love. So then lastly is the trap of outcome, the end result. It doesn't matter where you are, it should never be an insult. Some may be further and some may be behind, but regardless of who they are, you are one of a kind. So keep reminders, keep trackers, and do before and afters, because when it's all said and done, what they think is irrelevant. You're the only factor. If you like this video, please hit the like button. If you'd like to see more, please feel free to check out the channel and subscribe, because there's more in store. From one witness to another, you are special. Hook out.